A new level, a new power. Vegeta manages to reach things that no one ever imagined. Pure pride along with the will to become stronger, and the Saiyan genes elevated him in an inexplicable way. So from here we can understand Beerus' fascination for him. This is way too insane. Let's run to the video so you can understand what I'm talking about. Ready? Then subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell, and leave your like. Since the beginning of Dragon Ball Super, the relationship between Beerus, the god of destruction of Universe 7, and Vegeta already showed itself to be unique. Unlike Goku, who awakened in Beerus a mix of fascination and curiosity for his instinctive energy and uncomplicated fighting spirit, Vegeta represented something different. Discipline, determination, and an incessant pursuit of power without concessions. Beerus, when choosing his potential successor, observed the Saiyan prince carefully, noticing in him not only the typical pride of his race, but a capacity for evolution that went beyond the physical. From the very first contact, Beerus noticed that Vegeta would not be satisfied with comparisons or temporary victories. He wanted to transcend limits, absorbing every fragment of teaching, every strategy, and every part of his own ki to shape it according to his own pace. This decision, of Beerus looking at Vegeta as a possible substitute, was the first recognition of how far the prince could go if guided by the god of destruction and the angel Whis. Vegeta's initial training was intense, calculated, and differentiated. While Goku received a kind of natural stimulus to reach Ultra Instinct, Vegeta approached each technique as a puzzle to be solved. He studied every movement, every strike, every variation of ki, and how it could be integrated into his body and mind. Beerus, in turn, watched with a mix of patience and impatience, because he knew Vegeta wouldn't take shortcuts. He would need to discover on his own the point where strength and control met. Vegeta's pride acted like a double-edged weapon. It pushed his evolution, but also placed constant pressure on himself, because every failure was a blow to his own self-perception. Still, it was precisely this relentless pursuit that caught Beerus' attention. The prince didn't just train to surpass opponents, he trained to surpass himself. As time passed, Beerus began to notice something that surprised him. Vegeta was mastering his energy in a way unlike any other being he had ever observed. It wasn't just strength or speed, it was the way he could channel his ki strategically, anticipating enemy movements, sensing subtle fluctuations of power, and reacting not by instinct, but by almost perfect calculation. Every strike Vegeta delivered carried the accumulated experience of decades, refined with the attention of a god and the discipline of a warrior who would never accept defeat as a permanent possibility. This ability to control, expand, and apply his ki with precision made Beerus give in, recognizing that Vegeta was evolving in a way even gods found difficult to understand. Vegeta's evolution didn't stop there. As his mastery of energy advanced, Beerus began to notice a pattern. Vegeta not only increased his strength, he reinterpreted every technique, every form, adapting it to his own limitations and combat style. This became even more evident when Vegeta began to explore Ultra Ego, the form that synthesizes the mentality of extreme offense and defense, not relying exclusively on instinct, but on fully accepting risk and one's own strength. Ultra Ego required not only physical power, but also emotional and mental control, something Vegeta built throughout his entire journey. He knew that, to achieve this form, it wasn't enough to simply seek power. It was necessary to understand the essence of battle. Strength without awareness could lead to self-destruction. Vegeta's path toward Ultra Ego was marked by constant challenges. He faced enemies that tested his endurance, his combat perception, and his ability to learn from defeat. Every battle became a lesson, and every lesson became fuel for his growth. Beerus watched everything closely, and with each advancement Vegeta made, the god of destruction felt a mix of pride and surprise. He did not expect someone with such a disciplined spirit and strategic mind to be able to embody Ultra Ego so completely. Unlike other warriors, Vegeta didn't need an extreme emotional trigger or an existential crisis to access the form. He built his evolution consciously, step by step, combining learning, self-knowledge, and brute force. When Vegeta finally revealed the fullness of his Ultra Ego before Beerus, the god of destruction was deeply impressed. It wasn't just the physical transformation or the colossal increase in power. It was the way Vegeta manipulated his ki, alternating between attack and defense, expanding his presence to dominate the battlefield, while still maintaining impeccable control over his own energy. Beerus realized that Vegeta had internalized the philosophy of Ultra Ego, but adapted it to his own style, creating a version that reflected not only his strength, but also his identity as a Saiyan prince. It was as if every muscle, every reaction, every explosion of energy was calculated with mastery, showing that Vegeta not only had achieved the power, but had become the master of that power. This mastery captured Beerus' attention definitively. What once was only potential, the promise of a successor capable of assuming divine responsibilities, materialized before his eyes. Vegeta demonstrated that his training was not only physical, but mental and spiritual. He understood what it meant to fight, the weight of every decision in battle, and the need for balance between offense and defense, between pride and prudence. Beerus, who rarely was impressed by any warrior, recognized that Vegeta had reached a level few could achieve, a level that required not only brute power, but tactical wisdom, absolute discipline, and the courage to stand firm in the face of challenges that could crush even the strongest. Vegeta's ultra ego also brought a new level of self-confidence. Unlike Goku, who often surrenders to the instinctive flow of combat, Vegeta maintains full awareness of every movement. This awareness doesn't diminish his aggressiveness. On the contrary, it enhances it. Every attack becomes more precise, every defense more effective, and every strategic choice is grounded in rigorous analysis and accumulated experience. Beerus understood that this differentiated approach made Vegeta not only a more powerful warrior, but also a more complete one. Someone capable of constantly evolving without relying exclusively on external factors or sudden crises. Furthermore, Beerus observed Vegeta's emotional resilience. The Saiyan Prince carries centuries of pride, defeats, regrets, and victories, but turned all of that into fuel to grow. The way he integrates his personal history into his technique is something few achieve, and this integration is fundamental to Ultra Ego. Every scar, every loss, every moment of doubt is used by Vegeta to strengthen his control over energy, his strategic judgment, and his ability to react to any adversity. Beerus realized that this combination of strength, discipline, technique, and emotional experience made Vegeta someone singular, a warrior who not only followed the path of power, but mastered it consciously and personally. Vegeta's progression also revealed creativity in combat. He does not simply replicate techniques or increase the power of known attacks. He modifies, adapts, and creates combinations that reflect his own vision of battle. Beerus, who had already witnessed countless warriors reach divine levels, recognized that Vegeta possessed something rare: the ability to innovate while fighting, to transform accumulated knowledge into new strategies, and to adapt to any situation almost intuitively, but with absolute control. This uniqueness made the God of Destruction understand that Vegeta was not just a follower of divine techniques, but a creator of his own evolution. By observing Vegeta in Ultra Ego, Beerus also noticed a fundamental difference compared to Goku. While Goku evolves in an organic way, relying many times on instincts and the emotional energy of the moment, Vegeta structures his evolution logically, with discipline and continuity. Each progress is the result of analysis, trial and error, learning, and adaptation. This structured approach allowed Vegeta to reach Ultra Ego without losing control, maintaining coherence in each attack, defense, and reaction, something that even Beerus acknowledged as rare mastery. Beerus' recognition goes beyond physical strength. He sees in Vegeta a warrior capable of taking responsibility, dealing with immense power, and still maintaining integrity and self-control. This reinforces Beerus' initial idea of choosing Vegeta as a potential replacement. The prince not only has power, but also the maturity needed to handle it, something that is fully confirmed with Ultra Ego. Beerus, who witnessed destruction, chaos, and war across various universes, understood that Vegeta reached a stage where power and consciousness coexist harmoniously, creating a battle presence that is both feared and respected. Another point that impressed Beerus is how Vegeta deals with stronger opponents, or with seemingly unfavorable situations. He does not react impulsively. He calculates, observes, adapts, and acts in a way that maximizes his chances of victory without wasting energy. Ultra Ego, in this sense, becomes an extension of Vegeta's strategic mind, allowing him to transform each situation into an opportunity to grow even more. Beerus noticed that the prince not only fights, but learns, evolves, and redefines limits in every battle, showing an understanding of combat that goes far beyond the physical. This combination of power, strategy, discipline, and self-control made Vegeta unique in Beerus' eyes. The God of Destruction, who had already seen everything, realized that Vegeta had transformed into something singular, someone capable of representing not only strength, but also maturity and intelligence in battle. Ultra Ego is not just a powerful form. It is a manifestation of Vegeta's entire journey, of everything he learned, conquered, and overcame. And that is why Beerus finally gives in to admiration for the Saiyan Prince, acknowledging that Vegeta's evolution is something worthy of divine respect. In summary, Vegeta's journey up to impressing Beerus reflects decades of personal evolution and combat, from the initial relationship with the god of destruction and Whis, through intense training, Beerus' decision to see him as a possible successor to the mastery of Ultra Ego. Vegeta not only reached a new form of power, he redefined the very concept of evolution and energy control. Beerus realized that, unlike many warriors who depend on instinct or extreme emotion, Vegeta builds his strength consciously, integrating technique, strategy, discipline, and emotional experience. This makes him, in Beerus' eyes, not just an incredibly strong warrior, but someone who represents the peak of what a Saiyan can achieve when combining pride, determination, and wisdom. The culminating point that truly marked Beerus occurred during Vegeta's battle against Toppo in the Tournament of Power. Toppo, as a candidate for God of Destruction, represented a colossal threat, someone whose energy not only destroyed, but reflected the philosophy of the divine role itself. Absolute power with control and purpose. Vegeta, however, faced Toppo without hesitation, aware of the abyss separating their powers, but also of the need to surpass his own limits. Each strike, each dodge, each explosion of energy demonstrated not only brute strength, but refined precision and strategy. Beerus watched closely, fascinated by the way Vegeta did not limit himself to physical combat. He transformed each situation into learning, each attack into an opportunity to improve his technique and ki control. The shock was deep. Vegeta was facing someone who could easily crush him. But even under such immense pressure, he maintained emotional and physical balance. He did not despair. He did not allow himself to be dominated by fear or by the superior strength of his opponent. On the contrary, his mind was clear, each movement calculated, each explosion of energy consciously directed. This mastery and self-awareness reminded Beerus of what he had observed since the beginning. Vegeta not only fought to win, he fought to surpass himself, and did so in a constant, disciplined, and innovative way. The battle against Toppo also revealed Vegeta's ability to deal with concepts close to those of a god of destruction. He began to understand intuitively how absolute energy, capable of devastation, could be handled without losing control, something essential for any warrior who wished to walk the path of Ultra Ego and, in the future, the style of destruction. Beerus realized there that Vegeta possessed the necessary mentality to absorb teachings that no other mortal could assimilate so quickly. Courage, discipline, self-awareness, and the ability to transform extreme pressure into growth. It was in that moment that Beerus decided it was time to truly guide Vegeta, to train him in the style of destruction, not just as a test of strength, but as a recognition of the prince's unique potential. Vegeta, when facing Toppo, had shown that his evolution was not accidental. It was the result of discipline, persistence, and a deep understanding of combat. Beerus, who rarely gets impressed, saw that Vegeta not only could evolve, but could do so with mastery, incorporating divine principles of combat and energy control that until then were restricted to the gods of destruction. From there, Vegeta's training reached a new level. He began to learn not only destruction techniques, but the philosophy behind them. Extreme concentration, full awareness of ki, balance between attack and defense, and acceptance of the responsibility that comes with absolute power. Beerus did not only teach strikes. He taught vision, perception, judgment, and discipline, elements that would transform Vegeta into someone capable of mastering Ultra Ego fully and consistently. Vegeta became the living example that a mortal, when determined and disciplined, can walk alongside a god of destruction and absorb aspects of his philosophy without losing his essence as a Saiyan warrior. This confrontation with Toppo was, therefore, the peak that solidified Beerus' decision. Vegeta was not only strong, he was ready to be shaped into something more, someone capable of integrating power, strategy, and self-awareness at levels that few could understand. The Saiyan Prince proved, in that combat, that he had the balance and mentality necessary for Ultra Ego, and that his potential to evolve within the style of destruction was unmatched.